All right, here we go. Salute to NBA Nation on this Friday afternoon. Another edition of the NBA Report. CP the Franchise, Alex Rataros on the other side. On today's show, action-packed show, Brody headed to the bench. The Clippers, the clips that keep on clipping. Brody's going to the bench. We're going to react to it. Could Zach Lavine be going to the Lakers? We're going to talk about some of the latest NBA trade rumors surrounding the Bulls wingman. Plus, recap the action from Thursday night's games. The Dubs lose 4 in a row. OKC's looking good. And the Miami Heat are also on a winning streak. All that plus more. You know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Another edition of the NBA Report. CP the Franchise, Alex Rataros on the ones and twos. Al, how you feeling, man? Happy Friday, bro.
Happy Friday, my man. And look, I'm always feeling good when we get to talk basketball. It's my favorite time of the day. All right. Whether it's Knicks, NBA. It's a good one, man. How are you feeling today, though?
I'm good. You know, could always be worse, but you know, hanging in there, surviving and thriving, brother. You know, surviving and thriving. So I can't complain. We're gonna get through the show today. Then I got to hit the city. We got the watch party tonight. Knicks versus Wizards in-season tournament. Are you not entertained? I'm hyped. I'm ready to go. Let's get it going, man. But let's kick it off with some breaking news that came across the waiver wire this morning. Chris Haynes of Yahoo Sports and the Bleacher Report has reported that Russell Westbrook, the vocal leader of the team, he made note on a tweet, has requested to come off the bench to help the Clippers' first unit establish some continuity. Clippers on a slide. They've lost 6 straight since adding James Harden. It's been a disaster. It's been a disaster. It's been a mess. Your thoughts on Brody to the bench? And just to give the people some color, you and Law Murray, Clippers insider from The Athletic, just touched on this situation on Knicks Fan TV. But yeah, let's go into it.
Hey, man, this is not the guy who should be coming off the bench. All right. Even Wall tweeted out, and we got that in the chat. So, Gam, if you can go into the Slack and pull the one up from Wall Murray, that would be great. And this is what Wall had to say today on X.com, Twitter.com, formerly known as Twitter, whatever you want to call it nowadays.
Yeah.
He says, let's just put it, this is what Wall said. Let's just put it this way. If the staff wanted the starters to have the right chemistry to break this streak, then Russell Westbrook and Terrence Mann are starting together like the plan was coming out of training camp. 5-man lineup of Harden, Mann, George, Leonard, Zubac equals 0 minutes. There's been this makes no sense to me, CP. And this is what I was going to as well. It's like, you came into training camp without James Harden on the team. That's already been established. We've discussed this too many times. Now you want to go say, hey, you know what? We're going to really shake it up now and put Westbrook on the bench. And it's like, what are we doing, man? Like, I get that you got to get another role player in there. It's too many stars. It's too top heavy. But to move Westbrook to the bench makes absolutely no sense. They were rolling to start the season. James Harden hasn't even had a training camp with these guys. He was out in Philadelphia and didn't even get playing time over there. Now you're going to tell me that James Harden's going to start this season or right now with Kawhi, PG, and everything's going to be fine? I just don't see it working like that, man. And I get the idea of wanting James Harden to be James Harden. I get that. But let's also remember who James Harden is. He is a guy who is a high usage player. Extremely ball dominant. Okay. Last show, I already told you how Kawhi went from 28% usage to 22 since James Harden has joined. How are you now going to say, hey, the most high usage guy in the NBA that we've ever seen is now going to solve the problems that we've had when Westbrook starting this season had that unit going? It just makes no sense to me, man. I think I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on.
Yep.
Going to put it on right now, CP.
Do it.
Did Harden and Westbrook have a conversation? Did they have the conversation? Did Harden say, like, look, man, you know, in order for me to get going, you know how it is, bro. Like, I've been this guy who's always been number one. I'm a high usage player, this, that, and the third. So is Westbrook. I'm not saying Westbrook hasn't.
Yeah.
But Harden is the new guy. You know what he did out in Philly? Is he the one that went over to West because they still got a relationship? Is he the one that said, hey, let me be the guy to be the starter and you come off the bench? Because you already did that, man. You already did that out in LA. Or was it Ty Lue? Because I don't believe Westbrook came in here and said, let me go to the bench.
No, this was Ty Lue, and look, some people out there speculate and say, hey, maybe this was the Clippers, because the Clippers have a lot of tremendous respect for Russell Westbrook, and they've made a concerted effort to treat him not like the Lakers did, right? So they're making a considered effort to roll out the red carpet for him, and he's rewarded him. Russell Westbrook has played well for the Clippers since he's gotten there in his role. But I believe this is a Ty Lue situation where, and he even mentioned it in postgame in their previous loss to Denver, he's got to go out. Now is the time to experiment. You got to figure it out. You didn't have a training camp with Harden. He didn't have a training camp. He's got to get up into game speed, and you've got to get him acclimated to your system. And so this is the time to try to tinker with things. But also, you got to think about it like this. This is where their longer-term investment is. It's in James Harden, not in Russell Westbrook. They signed Brody to a team-friendly cheap deal. For Harden, they dumped assets into this thing. So their investment in him is more important because they want to see it through. This is the final straw for them. And so they've got to make sure that, they are, acclimating. They are accommodating James Harden, but they have to, because they got rid of half of their depth and more draft picks and punted their entire future to accommodate Harden and PG. And then obviously you have Kawhi Leonard there. So this is their big three. If Brody doesn't like it, look, he's been playing well. He's making the sacrifice, and you give him that. You give him that credit for sure. But from a business standpoint, Steve Ballmer's looking at this like, look, you asked me to part with more of my assets here for this guy. Now it's your job to make it work. And unfortunately, this is the issue, man. This is part of the issue because he hasn't been impactful with them. Brody has. But now they've got to make the proper arrangements to accommodate James Harden. They have to do it.
So let me ask you this then. Do you think James Harden's going to get a big contract after this season? Because even though Westbrook signed for a cheaper deal, right, team-friendly deal for until the end of next season, I believe, you're telling me that Ballmer's going to be okay paying James Harden more money for next season, more that like up there with like Kawhi and PG? Because I don't see that. And even because he is making the most money this year, I still look at it as like, if you're investing into the future, it makes much more sense for James Harden to come off the bench. I don't like, he wants to win. If James Harden's serious about winning, if James Harden's serious that he wants to actually be a part of, like, be a team member and all that stuff, you know what you say as that guy? You should be the guy saying, hey, guess what? I'm going to take the back seat because I'm new to the situation. And guess what? I haven't had a training camp with these guys yet. You let the entire team say, look, that's how you really know that's a guy who's about team. All right. So I get the investment thing. I get all of that. To me, man, Harden should be the one on the bench. He should be the one saying, not I should be going to the bench. I'm new to this team. Westbrook, you guys had something cooking. Look, CP, before Covington went over to Philly, this lineup of Westbrook, PG, Kawhi, Covington, and Zubac, they were a plus 14. I'm not a big plus minus guy, but they were a plus 14. They were 2-1 with that lineup. Okay. 2-1. That's the lineup that you got going on right now. All right. And Terrence Mann, you obviously got to bring him into the situation too, but it should not have been Westbrook going to the bench. I think we're going to see the Clippers struggle still, even with this. They may win the game tomorrow, but I think for the next few games, you're still going to see, hey, are they going to get into rhythm? Probably not. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another lineup change and they say, you know what? Russ, get back in that starting rotation because things were clicking at the beginning of the season. Terrence Mann, you get into that starting rotation. Hey, Harden, you go run the show with that second unit until you get up to game speed. That's a mid-season move to put Harden in the starting rotation.
Right. And I agree with you. It did make the most sense to slowly get him back into the groove while you try not to disrupt the rhythm that Westbrook was having with the rest of the starters. But it just seems like Ty Lue is searching right now to find the right combinations, establish the proper rotation. And look, this team is going to have between now and mid-April to get it together. Top 10 teams are going to be in contention for the playoffs. The Clippers right now, they're struggling, but they'll have some time to get it together. I still think that they will have some time, but this is the product of the pressure that comes with what they're trying to do. We don't, and nowadays we don't give teams time to establish chemistry and get it together. Oh, right now we're looking through 7 games and like, yo, what's going on? 6 games, what's going on? Is it working? Is it not working? through
I get
6
that.
games, we're giving this Harden trade a look. So they're under a lot of pressure. But I just think, because of the investment that they made in James Harden, is he going to get a max bag after this? Who knows? But this could be a case where these two parties are tied to the hip in terms of James Harden's future, and the Clippers are going to have to see that through. They put a lot of assets into this thing. I do think the one key, though, is Terrence Mann starting.
No, for sure.
Because while I like the 4 stars that they have, Terrence, there's a lot that they have to sacrifice to make it work. And I said this on the last show with Terrence Mann, you don't have to do that because he knows his role already. You need connectors out there. You need guys that are going to set screens, do the dirty work, do the hustle plays. He's a young player. He's got to get infused into that because you got PG, you got Kawhi, you got James Harden, you got some old established vets. You need kind of an engine, a high motor guy that's going to do everything across the stat sheet to make it work, to bring those 3 guys together. So I like that. I like Terrence Mann in there. I said on the last show that he should even be closing because he's very important to that team and they have to give him a chance. I mean, look, they held him back from the Harden trade. So clearly he's important to them. Now he's getting his chance and we'll see how that works together for them. They also are going to pick up Daniel Tice. We talked about they needed big man depth. With the injury to Mason Plumlee. I like Tice. I think he's going to add some depth and some versatility for them. Another scrapper. They need scrappers, man. Guys that is going to get it out the mud. Thought that was a decent pickup too.
Yeah, I like that pickup. And he wasn't getting that much playing time out in the Pacers anyway, so it's good for him. Clippers are able to take advantage of that buyout. I don't know, man. Look, I get it. We're going to talk about the Bradley Beal thing at the end of the show, but it's stuff like that when you see, you got injury, teams got to adjust. I'm looking for, we examine these small sample sizes of a game because especially for a top heavy team like the Clippers, 6 L's with high powered offensive players like that's bad. Like for as talented as they are, they should be able to at least take out some of the weaker teams, and they struggled, man. Like you're telling me that you're losing to Mikal Bridges and the Nets, like the Nets don't have that much star power where you're going out there and you're losing. You know what I mean? Like they're losing games by small margins, and the star power that you have is supposed to say, hey, even when we are at our worst, we can still win these games. And so when you go on a 0-6 losing streak, to me, yeah, I'm a little worried. You talked about it. Like you made this investment in James Harden, and look, I don't really care that that you got James Harden now. Like you made the biggest deal trading for this guy. This guy has not shown that he is committed to a team when he's not happy. And look, I'm all for about being happy and going to a place where you feel like you got your mental right and all those things. But we saw how he left Houston. We saw how he left Brooklyn, and now we saw how he left Philly. So now you're going to tell me that you got into this deal. I don't really care that you made the deal. I really don't. You already knew what you're getting yourself into. And if I'm Ballmer, I'm like, wait a minute, guys. Wait a minute. Why are we making this change? Why are we making this rotational change if we were doing okay before he got here? That makes no sense to me. So I hear you, CP. I get it. I don't like it. I really don't, just because for Brody, like, and look, shout out to Wall, man. He wrote about the respect that Kawhi and PG gave Brody. And awesome that he's open to accepting this, being the 6th man coming off the bench, but he's not that guy he shouldn't have to do the CP. It's just interesting. And to even have Wall tweet out that, right? To say that. And Wall, if you haven't checked out Knicks Fan TV and saw the Game of the Week preview and you want to hear how they feel, go check that out. Wall has high praise for Ty Lue. And so to question this rotational change for Ty Lue from Wall, in my opinion, that says a lot from Wall. Okay. So yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but we'll see what happens.
Well, they got to get right because they're going to see a hot Houston Rockets team tonight, so they better get it together. We'll see how it happens. I'm going to be locked into that game tonight as well. Next topic, Al. Last night, next topic, we got to talk about Zach Lavine. Ooh. Zach Lavine, we definitely
again
Zach Lavine. Yeah, again. We had our guy Hayes from Chicago Bulls Central talking about Zach Lavine, and today reports came out that the Lakers could have some interest in one Zach Lavine. That's a team that we talked about on our previous show. I feel like the Lakers need him, but Lakers could be in the market, man. What's your thoughts about that?
I find it funny that not necessarily that Lavine wants to should go. I think that's a good move for the Lakers. Honestly, I agree with you. Where I think Zach Lavine on the Lakers, they need a score. They need a guy who can play off ball. I think him next to LeBron and AD, that's adding something that they're lacking. I know they have Reeves there, but he's struggling. Regardless, adding Lavine to that, you add another scorer. You add somebody. Now you would push Reeves down. They are able to keep Reeves, but that's enough scoring power that you should help LeBron James if you really are serious about cutting the minutes for LeBron James, right? Like that's a great idea. I'm just curious to see how that deal gets done because most of the trade won't happen until after December 15th, where most of those guys can be traded on that roster after the signing. But I'm curious to see what that type of deal how that deal works. But the big thing to me, CP, the big thing to me out of this whole thing, and shout out to The Athletic, the Lakers are interested in not just getting Zach Lavine, but potentially DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso and making it worth the Bulls' time. That's interesting to me because
in typical Lakers fashion,
Here's something. You had Caruso, Lakers. You let him walk.
Let him walk. Then, biggest mistake they ever made.
And then you also were in line to go get DeMar DeRozan, and you failed on that. So now you potentially got to pony up even more assets to go get the trio that you actually wanted to come help LeBron James. So I don't know, man. That's the funny part I get about all of this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they can pony up the necessary assets to make it work. But I do think that he's the player that they need. We talked about the LeBron minutes restriction, 80's lack of durability, LeBron's lack of durability. I mean, he's 39 years old. How many minutes, how much mileage are you going to have this guy log and then have to go into the playoffs and be great? There's too much reliance on these two guys to deliver, and it's an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle. You need another guy, an innings eater, if you will, to go out there, get buckets, assume some of the offensive responsibility. Like, am I really going to put all that on Austin Reeves? Maybe that is a bit too premature, right? Maybe you got to give him some time. He's a baller, don't get me wrong, but maybe you got to give him some time to really assert himself to be a consistent, reliable option, number 2 or borderline 1 option for that team. So that's why I think Lavine is a critical piece. I think that's a big piece for the Lakers. And to me, that's, if you talk about more of a natural fit, I mean, obviously it depends on what they have to give up, but I would go with Lavine if I'm the Lakers. I would definitely have to go with Lavine. The question is the price, because for the salary, you're going to have to move a lot of players.
Yep.
You will have to move picks. And so with players, that comes depth, right? The players may add up to be what Zach Lavine can give you, but it still detracts from the overall quality of your team and your rotations if you got to give up half your bench.
You're looking at like guys like Max Christie, Hood Schifino, Maxwell Lewis, Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent, Taurean Prince, D'Lo. Look, it's going to be an interesting deal because as you just said, CP, Zach Lavine's contract is not cheap. So you're going to be giving up depth. How do you round out a team like that? It's going to be top heavy once again. But then you got to think, do the Lakers then just start knocking on doors, guys who are free agents right now, bringing guys in off the street just to round out that team?
Call JR back. Call JR. See what
he's having a good time in college and golfing, bro. Don't leave JR alone. Let that man live.
Fantastic time. This is what the Athletic had their proposal. Zach Lavine, Julian Phillips for D'Lo, Rui, Taurean Prince, Jalen Hood-Schifino, and an unprotected first. Trade, again, like you said, can't happen until January 15th when Rui becomes eligible to be moved. They say there are other ways to get a deal done as soon as December 15th, including replacing Rui with Taurean Prince and Gabe Vincent. Bulls wouldn't do that. The Lakers are also hard capped after using their mid-level this past offseason and only have about $5 million to spend. D'Lo, Rui, Taurean Prince, Jalen Hood-Schifino.
That's tough.
That's tough.
Out of all of those guys, I'd be upset at losing Rui.
Yeah,
Rui's balling out.
yeah.
Like
I'd
that's
be
the guy.
upset at
That's the
losing
guy you
Rui,
need.
but for the Bulls, I think that's the type of return that you'd be looking for, right? A young player with
Yeah,
upside, a manageable deal. You get a draft pick. You get a young player who's damn near a draft pick in Hood Shafino. I would have to think that's the type of deal that the Bulls would be looking for.
I would think so too. And because you have Patrick Williams on the Bulls, right, who hasn't really shown out yet, you would be able to replace him with Rui and say, you know, we're waiting for that defensive guy, but we can get an offensive guy on Rui instead. So I get that. But if I'm the Lakers, I would do everything in my power to make sure I keep Rui, because him coming off the bench, that's a scoring punch that they need.
That's a
Like
nice spark.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just been so efficient. As soon as he landed foot in LA, I don't know how you can give up. Even in the playoffs, man, he was showing up. That'd be a tough loss. I understand getting Zach Lavine, but once again, you become very top heavy. And then when we talk about going into the playoffs, you want that depth. You need it to make a bigger impact. Like we see it with the Nuggets, we see it with the Celtics, you saw it with the Heat last season. You need a deep team in order to make a run in the playoffs. And look, the Lakers had that too when they made it to the Western Conference last year. They did enough wheeling and dealing by last year's deadline to create that depth that they didn't have. So if they do that, I don't see this team getting back to the same place, because as talented as LeBron James is, being a top heavy team just hasn't worked out for him to begin with. Even when they won the chip, they were a very well-rounded team, right?
All around.
So
Yeah.
so I just don't see it working out. I think they got to be very careful when dealing for someone like Zach Lavine, that they're not sending too much. But this is the issue, man, when you don't have that many picks to trade.
Yeah, they are limited. They are limited in terms of their war chest. And so while I think they need him the most, I'm not sure if they will get him. It just depends on the market. Like, where's Philly's interest in this? Are they interested? Like, the Lakers make the most sense, right? For many reasons. We talked about LeBron, obviously the clutch factor, but how interested is Philly? Morey wants a cap space to get a big ticket item. Is Lavine that guy where you would sacrifice your cap space for to go get? They have the assets to get him. I think they have the bench depth to go get him. But would Morey sacrifice his cap space to go get him? And if he feels like, that's the last piece, that's going to be interesting. Miami, Riley went on record after the failed Lillard trade and said that he was going to cost too many young players. Would that be the case for Miami? Because Chicago's not just going to want the salary cap relief of, a Lowry or Duncan Robinson, whoever that may be. Going to have to give up maybe a Jaime Jaquez. Is it a hero? Is it a hero swap? You're going to have to give up a young player and maybe some draft capital as well. So I'm interested to see how interested, what Miami's level of interest is.
Yeah, for sure. I will say this, though. Nice touch on Lavine after yesterday's post game. I like how he was wearing an LA hat. Good job, man. You're wearing an LA hat. And on top of that, you remove Chicago Bulls from your Twitter bio.
As they always do, right? The first part of when you're putting your tinfoil kufi on, the first place you go look is the Twitter handle. Are they affiliated or not? Are they an item or not? Are they together or not? First place you go and tells you everything.
The LA hat was on point. Rich Paul was like, yo, man, let me tell you something. We're going to Team Clutch, a.k.a. the LA Lakers. Put on an LA hat. Look, you're from the West Coast. You're from Washington. Just put that hat on.
Rich and LeBron, they are trying to cook right now. Make no mistake, Laker fans. Rich and LeBron are trying to cook. Salute to everybody in the chat. Once again, hit that thumbs up button for your boys, CP and Alex on the ones and twos. The NBA Report Friday edition. Let's salute people in the chat. Salute to K. Gregory Weiner, my 2 cents in here. Do things in here. Salute to Do Things. JJ, Do Things. You coming to Ainsworth tonight? You coming to the Ainsworth tonight for the watch party? Let me know. Shout out to JJ. Shout out to EJ1, Oroku Saki, Shredder in here. Jalen. Shout out to KFTV Jalen in the building. Shout out to Gamba the Bar producing. Shout out to Tyler, assistant producer as well. And show to the team, man. Salute to the team. Shout out to Sim. Okay, next topic, Al. As we move forward, a doubleheader in the league last night. You had OKC coming in against Golden State. Golden State shorthanded. You have Steph Curry out with the injured knee. Draymond Green out for being a bonehead. 5-game suspension for putting the $1 million dream, the Cobra clutch on Rudy Gobert. And I think it was the teeth that really got him. It really looked pretty menacing. Yeah, I think that was it. That's what got him to 5 games. When he was really when he really exposed the bottom row there. I think they felt like there was some malicious intent there rather than just coming to the aid of a teammate.
You know what's interesting for sure.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting, CP, and Rudy Gobert called it out when they wrote in the Athletic article. Do you know that out of the 11 games that Draymond has gotten a technical and been thrown out of, 7 of them, Steph has not played in.
So he's right. He's definitely right. And so
he's on to something. That is definitely one way to get out of a game. Like, whoa. How much work I got put in tonight without Steph Curry on the team? Why? Hold on. I'm going haywire today.
Shout out to Rudy for the clap back. But tonight, last night was all about OKC, man. 128-109. They smoke the shorthanded Golden State Warriors, and they were in control for basically the entire game. I mean, they had a 21-point lead at one point in this game. Shot damn near 60% from downtown now. 19 of 32 from downtown, including Isaiah Joe. 7 for 7 from downtown. They got 13 and 10 from Chet, 2 blocks, 16 from J. Will. You got 24 from SGA on an inefficient night, 6-21 from the field, but he did chip in with 7 assists and 3 steals and a block. 19 for Josh Giddey, one of my favorite players in the league right now, man. 19 and 6 for Josh Giddey. And Isaiah Joe off the bench with 23 points. Incredible night. And tell you, man, this OKC team, this is my league pass team. Obviously, they came on strong last year and made a push for the play-in, but this is their year. This is their year to make the playoffs. Not going it crazy here, right? Not jumping out the window, but this is their year to take that next step, make the playoffs. They're number 4 seed in the West right now. You have a number of teams trying to get right. Clippers are trying to get right. You have the Suns trying to get healthy. Sacramento trying to get healthy and get it together. Even though the West has a lot of talented teams and potential, it's still a lot of teams really trying to get back on track. But OKC right now is in the driver's seat because they have the chemistry. They're getting contributions from a number of young players. I mean, you had SGA with an inefficient night, but you had contributions across the board. Their defense has been stellar. Their offense, they're moving the ball, top 10 offense in the league. I love what OKC is looking like right now. And even though you had no Steph, you had no Draymond in this game, I understand that. This was still a road game in Golden State, and they went out there and not just, stole the game. They dominated in the game. They took that game from Golden State last night. And I think that was the biggest difference. And that's why I like where the Thunder is headed right now.
Yeah, for sure. Look, 128-109. They're putting the champs on notice. I'm with you, CP, although I'm still waiting for the matchup that I got circled from when we did the schedule release this offseason. Okay. I'm still waiting for the Pacers and OKC to duel it out. That's the two young core I want to see, man.
Matchup. Yeah.
I want to see that matchup. But look, if the season were to end today, OKC would be 4th in the Western Conference right now, with an 8-4 record. Okay. Right now in the standings, you got Denver 1, Dallas 2, Minnesota 3, OKC 4, Houston 5, Kings 6. This is, I know it's still early in the season, but this is crazy, man. The West is just crazy. I love everything about it, man. I love the Western Conference right now for how deep it is for talent, but
gotta love the parity right now.
Yo, it is great. And look,
I mean, Denver's still the king of the West, but you still got to a little parity. Here.
Right. Absolutely. Look, everything runs through Denver right now. Even when you see the odds of like the Celtics and the Bucks and whatnot. No. Give Denver their respect. Okay. And that goes for you, Jay Will, talking crazy on the show yesterday. But anyway, look, you got OKC who's making a name for themselves right now. This is where if you're like the Lakers, if you're the Warriors and you're missing Steph for some period of time, AD goes down. If LeBron's got to miss some time, you're Phoenix right now. You don't have Bradley Beal and you're 5 and 6 in the standings. Like, you're OKC, you're taking advantage of the schedule, and this is how you're setting yourself up for success this year. This team, who knows, man? This team could be 6 in the West. Like, granted, I know it's still early, but this team could be 6 by the way that they're playing. I think the only thing I have is the center position with Chet because, he's still thin. He's going to have to go up against bigs like Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic and so forth. But you gotta like the way that OKC's playing, man. They're truly a modern team when you talk about space and pace, having a stretch big. They're fun to watch, man. And when SGA is just getting downhill and getting whatever he wants, it just opens it up for everybody else. So this team is stacked with young talent. I'm curious to see how, the season ends and how they perform. I really want to see them in the playoffs, man. I really want to see them in the playoffs, have a 7-game series, because last year they were just 1 game away in the play-in, right? So that I'm just looking forward to this team.
Man, I'm just loving it. I'm just loving it because they're just so balanced, and this is why I feel like if they stay healthy, especially Chet and SGA being their 2 pillars, they're going to win enough games to make the playoffs outright. I don't think this is a playing team. I think this is a legit top 6 team because they have everything. They have the point guard, floor general in SGA. They have a floor general in Josh Giddey. They have leadership in those 2 guys. They have leadership with Lou Dort, a young playmaker, young shot creator, Jalen Williams, Chet becoming a 2-way player. This is his rookie season. And he's showing some impressive things out there on the court. Dort's giving you defense. You got both of the J. Wills. You got Kenrick Williams, Isaiah Joe, your sharp shooter. And look, I mean, they went 6 deep on the bench. I love what Kason Wallace is giving them, a rookie, nice 2-way player. He's a nice scrapper, man. 10 points, 4 assists for him last night. 2 for 2 for downtown. I like his game a lot. And they're just balanced, man. They're just balanced. And the head coach said, look, nights like this are not going to happen very often in terms of the way that they shot. They shot damn near 30%, 60% from 3, but the ball movement, he said, we have to emphasize all the things that we can control. You can control your ball movement. They had 31 assists last night. They're a top 5 in the NBA in terms of net rating. They are, in terms of assists per game, they're 15 assists per game right now. But their defense as well is another thing that they could control. So I think their selflessness on both ends is another appealing factor for them.
Now going to the other side of the ball, CP, looking at the Warriors. We gotta get our guy Sam on here, who's on the Light Years pod. He does a great job covering that team.
Yeah, let's get him on next.
Because the Warriors right now, it's interesting, and he tweeted this out here because someone commented on this on their YouTube channel. I just think it's very interesting to see where Warriors fans are at right now. And here's the comment for the Light Years pod on their YouTube channel. If Steph was in decline, this is what one of the fans says. If Steph was in decline, I wouldn't care so much. And I'd say, let's just gracefully slide into a rebuild. But Steph is at his zenith, and it's such a shame to waste these great Steph years. A coach that no longer suits the roster and can't get out of his own way. Clay and Wiggins in their own heads and limited by past catastrophic injuries and a mysterious personal issue which has bled into this year. Rookies that aren't getting minutes when they're plainly playing better than the vets. Kojo, who is this year's lamb, it is a ish show for the Warriors. That's how fans are feeling right now. And Sam shared that on his feed, saying this pretty much sums up his feelings as well. So that should give you an idea where Warriors fans are at right now, watching this team and knowing that Steph is injured. You don't have him on the court. He's going to miss some time. And without him, man, like I told you on the last show, like he is the only guy to score consistently over 20 points. The next guy to score once for 20 outside of the last game was Dario Saric. So you're not getting good Clay. Chris Paul has been okay off the bench. Draymond, not really a factor when it comes to shooting anymore. He still facilitates, good defensively, but if you're not going to shoot, how do you help your offense that way? And then when you look at how the Warriors play, like they're a high volume team, but they're not necessarily efficient when it comes to shooting. So watching all of this, you really need Steph to stay competitive, but this team is just in such a quandary right now that I don't know what you're like. You just can't give up on Steph. He is the face of the Warriors.
Yeah.
So how do you clean this up? And if you're a Warriors fan, what moves do you want to see this team make to get you back on track?
They've got a lot of issues. Number one is the age of their stars. Father Time is catching up with Steph, man. Take a look at the last couple of years. He's getting banged up. He's getting lower extremity injuries. All that running around and cutting and moving at the speed of light. It's catching up with him. And that's unfortunate because this is one of the greats of our time. But for all the time, it's catching up with Steph. It's catching up with Draymond. It's gotten Clay completely. This is not the same
Oh
Clay
yeah,
of
dude, the
yesteryear.
back-to-back injuries for Clay has just been awful.
It's catastrophic. It's catastrophic. So you have that. You have your main stars are on the decline physically. Steph is still at the top of his game from a basketball standpoint, but physically they're coming on the decline. You have CP3, who's an older player. Like if this was 5 years ago, this would be an automatic NBA Finals favorite. You know what I mean? But the reality is that they have aging stars coming into this thing, even healthy. They were going to be, third, fourth, fifth best odds to win it. Like there were better teams on paper than this Golden State team. I don't like where they are with the big man situation. Like Looney's okay. He serves his role, but they have no big man depth. They have no big man presence down low to protect the rim. So I don't like them defensively. I think part of the issue is the same thing that the Lakers are going to face is the same thing that OKC is going to face. Without a reliable secondary or tertiary star, there's going to be there's an over reliance on your head guy. There's an over reliance for the Lakers on LeBron James. There's going to be an over reliance for the Warriors on Stephen Curry. And without a suitable Robin or a guy that can shoulder the load, which is what Clay was at his peak, they're going to be in trouble some nights. And the issue is, what I do like with the Warriors, like, I think Kuminga's taking another step. I think Moody's taking another step. Like, those guys look good yesterday. But
they're not getting the playing time.
Right. But they're showing the potential as potential playmakers, as potential shot creators. And so their trajectory as guys that can eventually take the reins, potentially, I think it's on a different timeline than where the Warriors are right now, because they need to win right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's so many competing forces. Of course, when you're at this stage of the game, it's going to make Steve Kerr look differently. The lack of star power will always do that to a coach.
Yeah, I think the difficulty with Steve Kerr, I don't really blame him as much as just the decline in talent at this point, where it's like, he's got to play his best players. And what is he supposed to do? Not play them because they all got extensions, man. They all are on contracts. You're telling me it's so hard to say, hey, we got Clay, we got Draymond, we got on these contracts, and now we're just not going to play them. And then now we got Chris Paul. And you can't now just sign Chris Paul and say, hey, we're not really all in on this thing. That if you weren't, you wouldn't give given Draymond the contract. You wouldn't have gone out and got Chris Paul. So this is just where they're at right now. But, when I did speak to Sam last year, when we did the Game of the Week preview on Knicks Fan TV, still a good show. Go check it out because he gives you some good insight on how they're trying to manage youth and the vets and so forth like that. He's talking about, look, this is a team that needs to embrace the youth, Moody and Kuminga, but they can't because the positions that they play are taken up by Wiggins and Clay. So because of that, you're not going to just say, hey, we got these guys on contracts, go take a seat. You know how we talk about, hey, locker room's got to be in sync and all that type of stuff? Go see what happens if you did that. Go see the turmoil you'd be in if you tell those two guys, hey, take a back seat right now. We got to focus on this. If the Warriors are serious, they got to think about moving those guys. I don't know if they're going to do that, though, because there is something to saying, hey, our big three has been here the entire time. They're going to retire a big three. But the way that Clay is playing, Draymond's playing, it's tough, man. It's really tough for the Warriors.
Or not playing. It continues to be a bonehead with no self-control. But
nah, man, he knows what he's doing. Look,
I'll give you this stat.
Look, he said, Steph's not playing. I ain't going to score. Let me get out of here real quick.
Yeah, that's just a tough thing for any coach. I mean, Steve Kerr called it inexcusable. So look, I mean, I was entertained by it, but in the grand scheme of things, there's a consequence to your actions. And Draymond now is costing him because he hasn't been healthy and now he's not available for them. Not really putting a team in the best position to succeed. So I think there are some issues there. But like I said, I like the young players, man. I like Kuminga. I like Moody. I think Podziemski's giving him some light off the bench. He's going to be a fan favorite. I think he's already gotten that role. He was pretty scrappy last night in that loss to OKC. Hit a couple of big 3-pointers for them to try to get them back into the game. But Yeah, I think they have too many competing forces that will prevent them from truly accomplishing that goal. I mean, I think this is just a paper team rather than a team that can legitimately win the championship. But look, things change in an instant in the NBA. We're only 8 games in, we're 11 games in, or something like that, and so we'll just have to wait and see what happens there, man. Just
1-10 for Clay last night, man. 1-10.
Yeah,
That's my guy, man. That's my guy. That's people who say that's my doppelganger. Come on now,
Yeah. You
Clay.
kind of look like Clay. You kind of look like
Clay, you gotta,
Klay
come
Thompson.
on, man.
Yeah. You kind of look like a bootleg Klay Thompson there, man.
How dare you?
So, so anyway, the first night of the doubleheader, Al, was sparked by the Miami Heat. Are we going to have to talk about the Miami Heat positively now, man? I was happy with kicking dirt on them. They started out the gates 1-4. My preseason prediction was that they weren't going to be able to rebound from this finals loss and not getting Dame and losing Gabe Vincent and Max Strus. But now here they come. 7 straight wins, 122-115 over the New Jersey Nets. Jimmy Butler scoring 18 of his 36 in the third quarter, went absolutely ballistic. And the longest winning streak in the NBA belongs to the Miami Heat. Duncan Robinson added 26. Yeah, Bam with 20. And they won all 7 of those games by single digits. Only one of 3 teams without a double-digit win this season. Charlotte and Portland are the others. So, I mean, do we got to put some respect on their name, or are they just, eking out wins here? What do you think?
I mean, this is kind of who they are, right? It's from last season that they win by single digits. They're a tough team, man. You got to give them credit for getting 7 straight wins. This is just the Heat culture, man. They're just gritty. They figure things out. I'm not there and buying it yet, though.
Okay.
I still need to see more. I still need to see more games from the Heat, but I'm tempering expectations. I like Jimmy Butler. Gotta believe in Jimmy Butler. Especially playoff Jimmy, different animal. Bam, for sure. I believe in Bam. More so is like with Tyler Hero and everybody else on the team. Like Kyle Lowry has been here and there. You either get a good game from Lowry, you get a bad game from Lowry. He's not as consistent as you need to be. You need to see Tyler Hero take another step if that's truly going to be their big 3. So I'm not fully there yet. I'm still waiting. What do you think, though?
You got to respect them. As much as I want to kick dirt on them, it's a Spoelstra-led team. You can't count them out until it's over. That's just the thing. You can't count them out until it's over. I mean, Jimmy and Bam used to say they don't take the regular season seriously. Well, looks like they could be right now. But their role players are stepping up. I liked Haywood Highsmith since last year when Spoelstra gave him a chance. He's in the starting rotation right now. You got Duncan Robinson, 26 points with Duncan Robinson. Jaquez, nice, ready, plug-and-play player from UCLA, upperclassman. That's the type of guy that was going to fit and fill in quickly for the Miami Heat. 10 points, 5 assists for him, 4 rebounds, had an outstanding game. Yeah, they got Josh Richardson back. Caleb Martin. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, you can't count him out, man. You certainly can't count him out. So
would you believe CP in a team that is defeated, and here's the 7-game winning streak? They've defeated the Wizards, the Lakers, the Grizzlies, the Hawks, the Spurs, the Hornets, and the Nets. Is that like they rolled off 7 wins that way? So are you believing in that winning streak and saying, hey, they've defeated some quality opponents where they give you reassurance that they've really taken a step forward? Or is it just that, hey, they're catching a good streak right now, they're probably just an average team at this moment until we see otherwise, and they had a really nice soft spot in their schedule?
Well, let's see them against some of the upper echelon teams. But, I think we could have said this last year with them. And when they were all the way at the bottom and scrapping for a play-in, and then before you know it, it's June, and they're still there. So not how you start, how you finish. But a couple things to look at is where will they be in the Lavine pursuit? Will they jump in on Donovan Mitchell if things unfold there in Cleveland? I don't think they're going to sit and stand pat with this team. They're going to make a move. It's just a matter of when. They have to. They're not winning it. They're not going to win the big one with this team. They may be competitive. They might scrap. But I think Riley's next play is still going to be a key question for this team.
For sure. And just for all the Heat fans out there that think I hate on Tyler Hero, he's injured right now. So I know he started off the season hot, okay? And he's averaging over to what 20 some odd 22 points per game, but he hasn't played yet. Got to see how he comes back, see if he can continue that type of hot scoring and if he can contribute on the defensive end too, which has been his weak spot. So there's still much to see about this Miami Heat team, man. But you gotta give kudos to where kudos needs to be given, which is 7 games, man. It's no easy feat, but I need to see better quality opponents, not a Lakers team that's struggling. You know, they were in a close battle against the Spurs. I tuned into that one for a little bit. That game was really came down to the wire. I need to see more before it's like, all right, this team is that same team that we saw in the playoffs last year that made it all the way to the NBA Finals.
For sure, for sure. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys, CP and Alex on the ones and twos. TM in the chat says we can't be biased on this channel. Yeah, I know. I came out a little bit, man. I couldn't help myself. So I'm the number one Miami Heat hater, but I will speak about them objectively when I need to, Al. I will speak about them objectively.
Seem very angry in saying that statement.
Yeah. We'll see, man. We'll see. Shout out Roku Stocky. J Rose 712. Salute J Rose 712. We got H22 in here. They say I want to see Pacers and Kings, Al. And they say I want to see Pacers and Kings.
Ooh, Halliburton going back
Revenge.
to Sacktown to go say, hey, should have kept me.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Shout out Do Things. $5 super chat. He says CP call me Do Things is worse than someone saying CP the franchise. Yeah, they do put the R in there. I got to correct them real quick. Put some respect on my name. But he did say it's Do Things with an A. Do Things. Love you guys. Salute Alex Tratarios.
Oh, my God.
I don't know. It's guys who called you Tratarios, man.
Tratarios. I'm not Cheerios. It's Trataris, everybody. Trataris.
All right, next topic. Miles Bridges, Al. Miles Bridges is he's making his return. He's making his return, and I believe it will be. Is it tonight against who Charlotte playing? Charlotte is playing Milwaukee, and I believe Miles Bridges is returning tonight from suspension. He was banished by the team, suspended by the team for some domestic violence issues, and yes, he is coming back tonight. So here's what Miles Bridges had to say on his situation and the perception about him and his Charlotte team. Let's roll the tape. We have the tape. Oh, okay. All right. Don't have to tape. But basically, I'm trying to pull it up. Let me pull it up here. Hang on. Where is the tape of Miles Bridges? Hang tight. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys.
Tweet is in there. Just scroll up a little bit.
The tweet is in the Slack.
Yep, it's in the Slack.
Okay, let's see. Miles Bridges. Okay, here he says,
let's see. Is that it?
It's Bucks debut. No, it's the one where he says, I can't see. Where'd you put it in?
It's in this. Okay, hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. There it is. Sorry. Okay. There it was. Copying the link right now. Drop it in the chat. There you go.
In the chat. Okay, here it is. Yeah, it's this one. All right, so he basically says, I know a lot of people feel some type of way about me being back, and I understand that it'll be a while before I gain their trust back, so I'm just going to go out there and play. If I get us some wins, people's perspective will change. Bridges and how he's perceived, man. Well, what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's a little tone deaf to me, honestly. And the reason why is that if I get us some wins, people's perspectives will change. Like, you didn't need to say that. What you did was horrible. All right. We saw the images. It's I can't even think of the words right now for how disgusting that action was. But to say that wins will just clean up everything for what people will be thinking about you, that's not what you needed to say. You got to come out like a man and say, hey, what I did was wrong. Absolutely wrong. I should not treat my significant other in that manner, right? And you go about it that way and apologize and say what you learned from that moment. Not saying wins are going to solve everything. Come on, man. Like, you could win tomorrow, but it's still like, guess what you are? You committed domestic violence. That doesn't change anything in people's eyes. So I think it's a little tone deaf, man. And yes, people are going to have their ways about you, but what that comment is, not the appropriate way to handle the situation.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and you know, NBA teams have PR teams. They got media training, and I don't know if he just stumbled on this one or buckled under the pressure, but that's definitely not the response that you want to have when you deal with an issue like this. Like, yeah, there's a couple of wins, everybody will forget about it. Like, no, bro. First and foremost, you're not the type of guy that people will get over, you know, serious issues for in the name of sports. And unfortunately, Al, it's happened. Like, I'm not saying we like us, but like fans or media perception of bigger name players has changed after their personal issues for winning. It's happened. Look at Kobe. Rest in peace, the late great Black Mamba, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kobe caught the case in Colorado. It was like, whoa. You know what I mean? It's Kobe. But look how he came out of that. 2 chips, multiple accolades, the Emmys, the Oscars, all that. When you saw Kobe up there accepted his award for the Oscar, you forgot all about that. Miles Bridges ain't that guy. Like, this, what happened here is going to follow this guy for his entire career. It's going to put the NBA in a bad spot because they're letting this guy back into the league. You see the situation with Kevin Porter unfolding, which has become a very bizarre situation in its own right. But he's tone deaf completely on this thing. Nobody cares about the Hornets. They could go on a 10-game winning streak. Nobody's going to be talking about them. But when it comes to Miles Bridges, yeah, his personal mishap, this situation is going to follow him. There's just no other way around it, man. It's going to follow.
And I think the thing is, like, not only do stars have big names that can change the perspective of winning and stuff like that, but how do you give back to your community? How do you atone for your mistakes, your harmful acts? Like, how do you go about that, right? It would be one thing to be like, Miles Bridges comes out and says, look, what I did was horrendous, absolutely terrible. I want to invest into helping men understand how to deal with their aggression, so that way this doesn't happen to them and have to go through what I experienced, right? That's different, but that's not what he did. That's why it's tone deaf. No one cares if the Hornets win, bro. I'm good. You're not Kobe, like you said, but it's how do you respond to this stuff too? And that's where it's like, this is not the response. Where was the PR team in this one saying, hey, buddy, they're going to ask you this question because you're getting back on the court tomorrow. This is what you should say.
Yeah. Unbelievable. And I'm surprised the Hornets really, stuck by the guy. I'm very, very surprised they stuck by him. But hey, he makes his debut tonight as the Hornets host the Milwaukee Bucks. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Al, a little fun to get away from the negativity. Media poll. This is according to Hoops Hype. Shout out to our guy Michael Scotto, friend of the program. A media poll ranking NBA arenas from the best to the worst.
Oh boy!
All right, let's go through the top 10. We won't go through all 30. So go through the top.
Oh man, I was expecting all 30.
No, number 10, Pacers, Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Okay. Number 9, Bucks. Interesting. Fiserv Forum. Number 8, Raptors, Scotia Bank Arena. Number 7, the Barclays Center. We'll get back to that. I'm hating on that one hardcore. Number 6, Kings, Golden One Center. Number 5, Bulls, United Center. Number 4, Warriors, the Chase Center. Number 3, our house, Madison Square Garden.
We're number 3?
I'm hating on that too. We'll get back to that. Number 2, Lakers and Clippers, Crypto.com Arena. And number 1, your favorite place, TD Garden in Boston. How do you react to this, man? Let's start with TD Garden. Go ahead. TD Garden, your backyard.
Let me tell you something.
You were just there.
I was just there. Look, I'll say this: it's easy accessibility to get there. Okay. There's truly not a bad seat in the house the way it's designed. It's like MSG where it's not a bad seat in the house. I'll give it that. But the one thing that kills me is the lack of options for food. Okay. It's pretty much the same thing every single. It's like, do you want like? It's just grossly overpriced for the small sample sizes that you get. Essentially.
Yeah.
And with the limited option of beers, it's not like MSG where it's like, ooh, you can choose this, that, and this, that, and the third. Like go down like the plethora roll of like what you want.
Yeah.
Very limited options over at TD Garden when it comes to the beverages and the food.
So,
but the thing that bothers me about TD Garden is this.
Yeah.
It is bright. It is bright as all hell when you sit in that arena. It is not like MSG where it's like you think you're at a Broadway play. They got the brightest lights, and you're like, depending where you sit, you're kind of like squinting at the game too. You're like, I can't see anything, man. There's a glare from the floor of my eye. That's number one, though.
That's number one. So just to give you the criteria, and somebody in the chat was asking my 2 cents. So the Hoops Hype polled 35 media members who traveled to arenas across the country, find out which were the best. Their criteria range from crowd atmosphere, energy, quality of the arena, culinary offerings, and lighting. There you go. So hey, the media members must like the lights at TD Garden. I'm still go with MSG as number one. You know, you've been to TD Garden, you've been to MSG. I've never been to TD Garden. I'm going to be biased. I've just, from a playoff standpoint, energy, atmosphere, when the team has it going, if the team is on a run, crunch time, fourth quarter, there's no place like the world's most famous arena. What are we talking about here? I think there's some Knicks hate in this media poll. But I went to the Garden. I went to every single home game that they played in last year in the playoffs. The place was insane. On fire. Cavs series more so than the Heat series, but the place was on fire, bro. On fire.
My man, it could be a regular season game. You think it's a playoff atmosphere game at Madison Square Garden, which I'll give TD Garden their credit. Like the atmosphere, like for their fans, like they get it. They get that place rocking. I am not going to knock that. I'm not going to knock that at all. But if you're going to tell me the lighting also goes in there and helps it be number one, you're getting blinded by the lights, my friend. Like relax. That place is like it is. I feel bad for anyone on that court, man. It is brighter than anything else. Oh my God. Just go take a look at some of the reels, man. I throw up there. It's bright. It isn't the dim white where you could say, oh, I see everything clear. Like it is. And the food experience, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know.
I would love to check out the Kings. I hear nothing but good things about the Golden One Center in Sacramento. I'd love to go see maybe like a Knicks Kings game or out there in Sacramento. I hear nothing but good things about that place. United Center. I mean, it's an old place. Like I didn't see much there. I went to a Bulls game there a couple of years ago. I wasn't impressed. Yeah, the Jordan statue's cool, I guess, if that's what you want to cherish, but like I didn't see much, impressive about the United Center. Maybe they're just going off of a history element. I don't know. Warriors Chase Center, absolutely up there. Absolutely up there.
I think you were just out there last year.
Yeah, next to MSG, that's probably the favorite place I've been to. I mean, obviously brand new, state of the art, incredible atmosphere. They have similar food options like MSG. Like MSG has a Delta Club. It's a Chase Center. MSG just got a Chase Club. And in the Chase Center in San Francisco, you have a Chase Club, which is like Delta Club. You get all your food and whatnot. You have different lounges and stuff like that. I like the Warriors building for sure. Who else in this top 10? They put Barclays in here. That I was very surprised.
Let's hear it, CP. What do you think about the arena?
I'm not. I don't think there's much charm in the arena. There's not much there. And secondly, I've been on record by saying this. The upper deck in Barclays is a death wish. They have the most shallow stairs you've ever seen in an arena. And so these media guys they don't take the stairs, right? They take the elevator straight up to Media Row, wherever it is, and sit in their seats. But if you're sitting in the 200s or the 300s in Barclays, boy, oh boy, you better not have a fear of heights or lack of vision because you're going to take a tumble.
Good God. Man. Yeah, another arena I've been to is the King Smoothie. I know that's further down on the list, but
They
that
got
place,
in New Orleans. You liked
yeah,
it?
that arena is dead.
Okay. All right. All right.
It is
Yeah,
when I went, man, and this is
yeah.
before Zion. I got to catch when Giannis was a rookie and AD was in his second year. $80 to sit courtside.
There you go.
That tells you how dead it was at the time, and
Absolutely.
I'm sure even with Zion, it's still not rocking like that.
Yeah, they got a couple of my favorite dumps down at the bottom, which they got right. Number 20, Hawks, State Farm Arena. Place is a dump. Absolutely nothing going for that. You know, it's the Hawks. It's just as basic as can be. Number 21, Cavaliers, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Likewise, place is a dump. Not much going on there. Their big screen, the arena's humongotron. The scoreboard is the fourth largest scoreboard in NBA arenas. That's cool. The big screen is cool that they have there. It is HD, and that's cool. But other than that, there's really not much going on there. So I approve that rating. Then you got Magic Amway Center. Of course, that place has got to be a dump. I mean, you hear when Knicks fans go there, it is MSG South, literally. But dead last, they got 29 here. Rockets. They made the Rockets one last, Toyota Center, which is another one I've been to. So, yeah, interesting list. Interesting list, man. Al, great show, man. Let's tap in. I got to jump out to the city for this watch party. Which games are you looking forward to tonight, man, on the tilt?
What games I'm looking forward to tonight?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing how Boston and Toronto match up. I think that's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to the Pelicans and Nuggets tonight. And then, yo, man, you already touched on it earlier. I'm looking forward to the Rockets and Clippers, man. I want to see that match.
Rockets and Clippers. Absolutely. I think those are mine. Obviously, Knicks versus Washington in-season tournament tonight. Battles tonight. Let's go. I'm into it. Saturday, let's see. What do we like Saturday? You like Dallas, Milwaukee? What do you think about that?
Dallas, Milwaukee?
Yeah. Okay. How about the rematch? OKC Golden State. I like that.
Yeah, I like that one. I like Minnesota and New Orleans. That's gonna be a good one. I think that's gonna be a good one.
I'm with those. Sunday you have. Let's see what you have here.
If you want to get messy, CP, the Heat do play the Bulls.
Yeah. I'm not watching that.
No, I'm just saying, like, Zach LaVine's going out there, man. You know what I mean?
Could that be a tryout? Sunday slate. You have Detroit, Toronto. If you're into that, I like watching Detroit. I definitely like watching Detroit with Cade and Durham and Duren and Asar Thompson. My guy Alec Burks. You know, I like that team. You got Sacramento, Dallas. You have Phoenix. No Bradley Beal. Needs a backiotomy in Utah. You got Houston and LA. I think that's the one I'll be watching Sunday night. The nightcap.
That's the good one.
Yeah. And then you have, I think I said Denver, Cleveland already. So Sunday's decent. So you got a decent slate of games for the weekend. Nothing too crazy marquee matchup wise, but we'll see what comes out of it.
If you're a Suns fan, no Beal until the next 3 weeks, baby.
No Beal, man. Wow. Unbelievable. Look, for the Suns, hey, best abilities, availability. And this was going to be a risk with Kevin Durant. There's going to be a risk with Bradley Beal. Can they stay healthy? And right now for Bradley Beal, I mean, you could really just say he hasn't even played. So, hey, when you're going all in and you're trying to build these big threes and trying to expedite your build, these are the things that can happen, man. These are the things. So, Al, great show, man. I got to shoot out to the city. Great show, all the mods. Great show, all of our producers of today's show. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Gamba. Shout out to Tyler, Al, TM, everybody involved making this happen. Shout out KFTV, Jalen. We back, man. You know the times. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 p.m. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel, man. Also, remember that these shows are available in audio podcast format. No reason to miss it. This is the NBA Report. CP and Alex. We out of here. Great show, Al. Peace.